Emma had always seen the world through the lens of flavor. From a young age, her memories latticed together by meals shared with family and friends. She associated food not just with sustenance, but with love, joy, and connection. But over the years, her fascination with food had transformed into something deeper, something almost intoxicating, a blend of sensuality and appetite that coursed through her veins like a fine Cabernet. Each evening, she returned home from her mundane job in marketing, not just eager, but hungry for more than just the comforting embrace of her favorite pasta or the rich pleasure of chocolate mousse. For Emma, food was an adventure, a romance. With every bite, she experienced a burgeoning exhilaration that reverberated through her, igniting something primal within. Her modest apartment was adorned with shelves of cookbooks, each one a testament to her love. Brightly colored spices lined her countertop, and her refrigerator was a treasure trove bursting with fresh ingredients, each waiting for the right moment to create culinary masterpieces. For her, cooking was not just a hobby, it was a form of self-expression, a ritual of passion that invited her to dance with flavors and textures. One Friday evening, after an interminable work week, she decided to indulge herself. She scoured her cookbook collection, settling on a recipe that beckoned to her. A decadent truffle risotto, rich and creamy, topped with a sprinkle of aged Parmesan and truffle oil. As she prepared the dish, the aromas enveloped her like a warm hug, each scent a siren's call that pulled her deeper into her culinary reverie. The process was an orchestration of harmony. Stirring the rice required a rhythmic patience that she found oddly comforting. The grains transformed in the simmering broth, their texture becoming plump and inviting, embodying the very essence of comfort and nostalgia. As she stirred, she felt a thrill that danced just beneath her skin, a sensuous connection to the act of creation. Once the risotto was complete, Emma plated it carefully, garnishing it with fresh parsley and a drizzle of truffle oil. She lit a candle on her small dining table, savoring the anticipation of her feast. With each spoonful, she allowed herself to be present, the flavors exploding in her mouth, arousing memories of intimate dinners and laughter shared around tables. As she ate slowly, she could feel warmth radiating through her body, a heady mix of flavors and feelings intertwining. It was as if the food awakened something latent within her, an awareness of her own sensuality. Each bite was a celebration, not just of the dish itself, but of her existence, of her choices, and of the pleasures that life had to offer. Emma often daydreamed about the possibilities that lay outside her apartment, of secret gatherings where people indulged their desires without fear of judgment. She craved a community that celebrated not just the art of eating, but the ecstasy that came with it. Little did she know her wish was about to unfold. On a particularly adventurous Saturday, she received an invitation that felt like a whisper from the universe. A cryptic message on a brightly colored card slipped under her door, adorned with an elegant script. "Join us for an evening of indulgence at the pleasure table. Discover what it truly means to savor." Her heart raced at the thought. The name alone conjured images of lavish meals and shared glances, suggestive conversations, and laughter that hung thick in the air. Without hesitation, Emma decided she would attend. Dressed in her favorite fitted dress that hugged her curves, she felt an electric thrill course through her as she made her way to the undisclosed location, shrouded in mystery and allure. The dining venue was intimate and elegant, a soft glow from chandeliers casting dreamy shadows across the faces of those gathered. The atmosphere hummed with anticipation, as though every participant was drawn together by an unspoken bond, a shared delight for both food and the artistry of indulgence. Tantalizing scents wafted through the air, awakening her senses further as Emma entered. She could see beautifully plated dishes adorning the long communal table, a veritable feast that seemed to beckon her closer. Lustrous desserts, intricate appetizers, and sumptuous mains were designed to entice and resonate with both hunger and desire. As she settled into the warmth of the community, Emma soon found herself enthralled by the people around her. There was Leo, an enigmatic chef with dark hair and deep-set eyes that sparkled with mischief. He moved with an effortless grace around the table, serving courses with a teasing flourish, engaging the guests not just in conversation, but in a culinary experience that felt intimate with each shared course. With every dish he presented, Emma found herself captivated, not just by the food, but by the way he spoke about it with such passion. He described flavors and textures with an evocative charisma, letting his words linger in the air, creating a palpable tension that pulled everyone closer to their plates and to each other. As Emma savored her first bite of an exquisite saffron-infused risotto, she felt a rush of sensations flooding her senses, the warmth of the dish intertwined with the electricity in the room. Here, the act of eating transcended mere satisfaction. It felt almost liberated, as if each ingredient was an invitation to explore the depths of not just amazing flavors, but of her own desires. With each course shared, Emma and Leo exchanged glances laden with unspoken words, creating a rhythm of flirtation that complemented the lavish meals. The food was delicious, but it was the growing connection between them that made the experience feel truly exhilarating. Emma felt herself opening up, not just to the tastes around her, but to the prospect of embarking on an adventure, one where she could relish both food and the intoxicating feelings it inspired. The atmosphere wrapped around her like silk, weaving a tapestry of combined pleasures and sensuality that encouraged her to embrace her innermost desires. Emma had stumbled upon an oasis of experience where eating was not merely about filling a hunger, but rather about igniting a flame that blazed ever brighter with each sumptuous dish. As the evening unfolded, she reveled in this newfound world, where food was sensual, the company tantalizing, and desire hung in the air like the tantalizing aroma of freshly baked bread. Emma smiled as she took another bite, knowing that this was only the beginning of her journey, one where she could fully embrace the flavor of desire. As the evening continued at the pleasure table, Emma found herself enveloped in an intoxicating atmosphere of laughter, indulgence, and connection. Each course was more extravagant than the last, and Leo's charm only heightened her anticipation. The dining experience unfolded like a dance, an intricate choreography of flavors and human interaction that left her breathless. The third course was served, a tantalizing duck confit, crispy and succulent, perched delicately on a bed of earthy lentils drizzled with a rich blackberry reduction. As she took her first bite, the crispiness of the skin shattered upon her palate, releasing a symphony of flavors that harmonized perfectly with the smooth, slightly sweet reduction. Emma closed her eyes for a moment, allowing the taste to wash over her like a wave, igniting her senses. "Delicious, isn't it?" Leo leaned toward her, his voice low and inviting, as though they shared a secret. "It's exquisite," she breathed, feeling a blush creep into her cheeks. The way he looked at her with those piercing eyes sent shivers down her spine, electrifying her entire being. "You should try pairing it with this," he offered, pouring a generous splash of a velvety red wine into her glass. "It complements the fruit notes perfectly." As she savored the combination, she sensed the synergy not just of the flavors, but of their magnetic connection. Each sip of wine ignited a fire within her. The warmth of the flavorful elixir mirrored the growing heat between them. It was as if Leo's presence was amplifying her experience, turning the act of eating into a beautiful shared ritual. Across the table, other guests laughed and chatted, but Emma felt cocooned in her own little world, one where each bite heightened her awareness of both the food and Leo. The sensation of their interplay became an intricate part of her dining journey, elevating her pleasure to an entirely new level. With each passing course, the atmosphere flowed seamlessly between flavors, conversation, and the burgeoning connection Emma felt with Leo. They shared stories and playful banter, each exchange laced with innuendo that twisted around their dining experience like a ribbon, binding them closer together. After the duck confit came a delicate cheese course, an assortment of artisanal cheeses paired with fresh figs and honeycomb. Emma couldn't help but laugh as Leo playfully teased her about her cheese preferences. He removed wedge after wedge of rich brie and pungent blue cheese from the board, placing them on her plate with theatrical flair. "Ah, we have a cheese lover in our midst. How can you resist the creamy texture of this brie?" he asked, watching her with keen interest. "I can't," she admitted, her heart racing. "There's something about the way it melts in my mouth that drives me wild." Their gazes locked, and Emma felt a rush of heat flooding her cheeks. As she savored a luscious piece of brie, the creamy texture melting with the sweetness of the honey, she experienced another wave of pleasure that felt almost transcendent. The simplicity of the moment expanded, and she noticed all the tiny details. The way Leo's hands moved as he gestured, the softness of the candlelight illuminating their faces, the shared energy buzzing around their table. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, building a delightful rhythm akin to a sumptuous meal. They found common ground in their shared appreciation for food, but as the night wore on, an undeniable tension crackled in the air. Their connection ebbed and flowed, igniting a desire that simmered just beneath the surface. Leo leaned closer to Emma, whispering secrets of culinary delights as the evening drifted expertly from one dish to another. He spoke passionately about the origins of each flavor, infusing each course with meaning, and she found herself hanging on his every word. "It's about the experience," Leo said earnestly, his gaze locked on hers. "Each ingredient tells a story, evoking emotion and sensation. It's not just about nourishment, it's about connecting, whether with others or oneself." Emma nodded, her heart racing as she felt each word resonate deep within her. This philosophy struck a chord in her soul, affirming everything she had felt about food and pleasure. Here at the pleasure table, she was beginning to unravel layers of herself that she hadn't known existed, a celebration of body, desire, and the intimacy shared over meals. As dessert approached, the air was thick with anticipation, a seductive chocolate torte infused with chili designed to titillate the senses. It was an extravagant ending to their meal, and as the servers graciously placed slices on each of their plates, the scent wafting through the room was nothing short of divine. Emma took her first bite of the rich, velvety chocolate, and the zing of heat followed by the smooth darkness enveloped her tongue in an explosion of flavor. It was lush, decadent, and undeniably sensual, just like the growing connection she felt with Leo. "Tell me, how does this make you feel?" he asked, his eyes glimmering with mischief. Emma chuckled softly, savoring the moment. "It makes me feel incredibly alive. Delicious food has a way of awakening the senses, don't you think?" She took another bite, this time letting the sensations wash over her while fixing him with a playful gaze. "Oh, I entirely agree," Leo quipped, leaning even closer, their shoulders brushing together. "With the right ingredients, there's no limit to the ecstasy that can be found." Emma's breath caught in her throat. For a fleeting heartbeat, the world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them caught in a moment of desire, the charge hanging palpably in the air. Was it the food that made her feel this way, or was it the magnetic connection she felt with him? For the first time in her life, she realized that the act of eating had become synonymous with the art of seduction. The way flavors danced on her tongue mirrored the way her pulse quickened in Leo's presence. As she glanced down at her empty plate, she felt a blend of satisfaction and yearning, both for the meal and for the growing intimacy that pulsed between them. As dessert plates were cleared, a hush fell over the room, anticipation lingering in the air. Leo rose to speak, his voice smooth and confident as he shared a toast, raising a glass of the sweet dessert wine. "To Indulgence," he said, his gaze sweeping over the guests before settling back on Emma. "May we all continue to explore the pleasures of life, both in food and in the connections we make." The clinking of glasses echoed around the table, but Emma's focus was solely on Leo. Her heart raced, and she felt a thrilling rush of possibility. This night had unlocked something within her, and she was more than ready to dive deeper into this exquisite world. As the evening progressed, guests began to mingle, laughter mingling with the remnants of culinary delights. Emma found herself drawn to Leo, and they stood close, a world-sized bubble of anticipation surrounding them. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and she felt playful warmth envelop her, a sense of adventure beckoning her to explore the night beyond the table's edge. "Want to take a walk?" Leo suggested, a bright smile illuminating his face. "There's a rooftop garden overlooking the city, perfect for digesting all this deliciousness." Emma eagerly agreed, feeling a flutter of excitement. As they ventured outside into the night air, she realized that the real adventure was just beginning, a beautiful exploration of food, connection, and the delicious tension lingering just beneath the surface, waiting to be fully savored. As Emma followed Leo through the softly lit corridor towards the rooftop garden, she felt a thrill of anticipation coursing through her. Each step felt charged, as though they were leaving behind the bustling world below in exchange for a hidden sanctuary where desires could roam free. The stars twinkled above, casting a romantic glow that added to the magic of the moment. They stepped onto the rooftop and were greeted by a stunning view of the city skyline, shimmering beneath the night sky. The air was crisp, and the garden was filled with lush greenery and fragrant flowers that mingled with the sense of the gourmet meal they had just enjoyed. It was a perfect oasis, intimate and inviting. Leo poured them glasses of sweet dessert wine and raised his glass to Emma. To new experiences, he toasted, his eyes glimmering with mischief. May we indulge in everything life has to offer. Emma clinked her glass against his, a playful smile dancing on her lips. To indulgence, she echoed, feeling a rush of warmth that had little to do with the wine. Their chemistry was palpable, and she could sense all the unsaid words fluttering between them like delicate butterflies. As they sipped their wine, the tension in the air thickened. Emma felt a surge of excitement as Leo leaned closer, lowering his voice to a husky whisper. Tell me, Emma, how do you feel about combining pleasure and food? Her heart pounded against her chest as she met his gaze, sensing the invitation wrapped within his words. I think they're meant to be intertwined, she replied softly, her pulse racing. Food has a way of awakening desires we didn't even know existed. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say, Leo said, his eyes smoldering with desire. Shall we explore that idea further? He led her deeper into the garden, where he produced a small basket filled with an assortment of delectable fruits, artisanal cheeses, and a hidden bottle of chocolate sauce. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she realized the significance of what was unfolding. Here, amidst the moonlight and the scents of the garden, they were about to embark on a culinary adventure, one that would blend their growing desire with the sensory pleasures of food. Here's the thing, Leo said, placing the basket on a small table. I believe in experiencing food in the most intimate ways possible. If you're comfortable, I'd love to share that with you. Emma felt a mix of exhilaration and curiosity wash over her. I'm all in, she replied, the confidence in her voice surprising even herself. Intrigued by the idea of merging food and sensuality, she stepped forward, ready for whatever experience awaited her. Leo opened the basket and pulled out a ripe strawberry, its skin glistening in the soft glow of the city lights. He brought it to Emma's lips, their eyes locking in a moment thick with tension. This, he said softly, is not just a fruit. It's an invitation, a way to explore not just taste, but touch and sensation. Emma's heart raced as she parted her lips, allowing him to feed her the strawberry. As the sweetness burst on her palate, she felt as if she was savoring the very essence of intimacy itself. It's amazing, she murmured, wiping juice from her chin, her breath hitching at the proximity between them. Leo grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Let's take it further. He pulled out a piece of creamy brie, placing it on a round wooden cutting board. Now experience this. He guided her to the cheese, beckoning her to take a piece as he dripped warm chocolate sauce over it. When textures collide, creamy, sweet, it creates a symphony of sensation, he explained, his voice deep and teasing. Emma took a bite, the harmony of flavors swirling together on her tongue, but it was the heat in Leo's gaze that sent a shiver racing down her spine. He watched her, so intent, as if every morsel she tasted was a moment of artistry for him. Now let me show you how this can heighten your senses, he murmured. With deliberate movements, he dipped his fingers into the sweet chocolate, then trailed them down her arm, leaving a glistening path that made her gasp. Close your eyes, he instructed. She obeyed, surrendering to the sensations enveloping her. As Leo explored her skin with the chocolate, tracing patterns that felt both delicious and decadent, each brush of his fingers ignited tingles across her body. Emma bit her lip, her breath coming in soft gasps as the combination of flavors and touch intertwined. The world around her melted away, replaced by the intoxicating dance of food and desire that wrapped them in a cocoon of intimacy. The rush of pleasure was overwhelming. In every way, she was savoring a slice of her deepest desires. Food can awaken not just your taste buds, but also the senses of touch, sight, and sound, Leo whispered, leaning closer. It's about being present in that moment, no matter how sensual or delicious it may be. He leaned in and placed a gentle kiss on her lips, tasting the remnants of the chocolate and berry from earlier. Emma melted into him, feeling the heat between them intensify. The kiss was warm and charged, layering their dinner with an undeniable chemistry that simmered just beneath the surface. "Let's take this further," he suggested, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "You're going to explore something extraordinary with me, something that transcends beyond just eating." With a flutter of excitement, Leo returned to the basket and retrieved a perfectly ripe piece of mango. He peeled it, allowing the fragrant scent to waft through the air before holding a slice up to her lips. "This is an adventure. Take a bite." Emma obeyed, feeling the juices trickle down her chin as she tasted the fruit's luscious sweetness, which mingled beautifully with the lingering chocolate still on her skin. Leo leaned in closer, his warm breath against her ear as he murmured, "Feel it on your tongue. Let it awaken the senses in every way possible." As she savored the mango, Leo's gaze never left hers, their connection deepening as they danced on the edge of passion and culinary art. Emma reveled in the experience, realizing that every bite was an intimate exploration, a celebration of taste, touch, and the euphoric heights of pleasure. The garden became their haven, the city lights twinkling above like stars resonating with their shared energy. Each piece of fruit, every taste combined with their chemistry heightened the experience beyond food, far into the realm of pure sensuality. In that moment, Emma understood. For her, eating wasn't just an act of nourishment. It was a bold journey into self-discovery, pouring forth desires that had long lain dormant. Incentivized by Leo's touch and encouragement, she was ready to embrace it all: the pleasure, the taste, the intimacy. Together under the night sky, they feasted in a way that intertwined their deepest cravings, transforming food into a vibrant tapestry of experiences. Every bite sharpened her awareness, igniting not just her appetite but her very being. And as the evening wore on, Emma knew that this was just the beginning of embracing her desires, both in life and at the table.